everybody. Welcome to the Sci-Fi Sisters podcast, where we give you our point of view. I'm your host, Tamia Harper. Today, I'm joined by my sisters, Yvette Blackman-Tom.
Hello.
And Sabrina Wood.
Whoop, whoop. I'm here coming live from a party, y'all. So please forgive me. I'm going back on whoop, whoop, whoop.
This child is going to be muted the whole time if she can stay on, that is. It's Congressional Black Caucus Week, and we are so excited because we've got a really cool person here with us as a guest. If you guys know Stranger Comics, then you know this man. He's the founder of Stranger Comics and the creator of the world of Asunda. Did I say it correctly?
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you gave an accent to it. It's perfect.
You got to have an accent to it, right? You know?
Yeah.
He's none other than Sebastian A. Jones. Welcome to the show, brother.
Yay. Thank you so much. Yay. Thanks to my Sci-Fi Sisters. Woo! Hanging out on a Friday night with some lovely ladies. I mean, what could go wrong? I appreciate you guys having me, on this lovely evening. And I'm just super, super honored to be here. Thank you so much.
We are really excited to have you here. So Yvette dragged you to us. Like Yvette came back from Comic-Con and was like, look who I met and look what they're doing. And we were all like, ooh. Right. And ever since then, it's been a mission to have you on the show. Because the little bit that she was able to tell, first of all, like Yvette, like your enthusiasm about the work that is being produced by Sebastian and Stranger Comics was just huge, right? Yeah. Like through the roof. Like, so it was totally infectious. And then she made the video. I mean, she showed us the video and made the video, and we were like, oh my God, we've got to meet this man. And the work is just amazing. So first of all, like, you're amazing. Like, we're gonna get to Asunda and Niobe and stuff, but let's start with you.
Right.
Okay. Because they all you're the source material, right? So can you tell us a little bit about who Sebastian is?
Wow, who I am. Goodness gracious. Thank you. I appreciate that. Usually it's like, tell me about Niobe. Who is she? Who am I? I a mixed chap that grew up in England, and I moved to America over 30 years ago now when I was 18. And things that move me, if you were to look at a dating profile, I guess, I would be, I like John Coltrane, and I like sips of tea, and spaghetti westerns, and Akira Kurosawa.
Oh my God.
Sabrina's losing her mind. She's like, yes.
I'm like, I'm sorry. Is there a way that you can date like 3 people at one time?
Oh,
you definitely said 3 things. We were like, what?
Because the Sci-Fi Sisters are going to be scrapping over you pretty soon.
Okay, perfect.
So mad. I am on mute. Oh my God. Okay, bye.
And my love language is people fighting over me. So
there you go.
There
you go. Match made in heaven.
Right.
And preferably all at the same time, and I'm there, and and I'm reading you books as well. So this is going to go very, very, Friday night.
I love it.
Off the rails.
Let's go.
That's usually how it works here.
Okay, good. I love that. Other stuff that I love, I would say, who am I? Nina Simone, Tribe Called Quest, early Scorsese, Spike Lee, Fela. I'm just
stop. Okay, Jesus Christ. Okay, so the subtitle of this show is going to be Menage a Trois, because we're not going to be able to physically split you apart. So
perfect. We don't need to talk about comic books. So I think what's interesting is when I grew up, in kind of those formative kind of times when I was a teenager in England, I grew up in a predominantly kind of white neighborhood, and being someone mixed in those times got into a lot of, you kind of know who you are quickly, and at times violently. And I think creating worlds and creating these concepts of worlds. I played a lot of Dungeons and Dragons and escapism into Lord of the Rings, and at the same time discovering James Brown's "Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud." So all these things kind of hit me all at the same time. And I think I romanticized about a world, and I romanticized about a character, being a young boy, who could take on my vulnerabilities and my fears, but also my wrath and my anger. And I placed them on her winged shoulders, and that was Niobe. And as I grew, she grew with me. And the world I was creating around her started to grow, and the world that was forming around me, I opened my eyes and moved to America at 18. And my mum's best friend was married to a movie star called Cary Grant. You probably remember him.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
And so when I was young and I would visit, I would see, he was very much a recluse, lovely man, and would always say things to me as a young boy, like, one day you're going to grow up, you're going to be very good looking, but that doesn't mean anything. And what's your substance of character, and this. And I was thinking, like, what? I just want to go and play video games. What are you talking about? But then when I moved to America when I was 18 by myself, and he had passed away by then. And I was, in the early days, spending most of my time in Los Angeles in an area called Leimert Park in Crenshaw, where most of my friends were, and it's kind of like LA's cultural Black Mecca. And so, you would have dance, before the Black Eyed Peas were signed, that you'd see them, you would see it was the early underground scene of the LA freestyle scene, with this place called Project Blowed, Juju. And that was kind of really, as a young 18-year-old, coming from an area in England and then spending a lot of time in London, I was a dancer. It was very, all these kind of different cultures and influences and inspirations kind of all collide at the same time. And I used to do a bit of acting and modeling when I was young and pretty. And then
you're still pretty.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I think he was waiting for that. That pause right there.
I know. For sure. In hope. One of the three who's winning the fight.
Which one?
And then I set up a record label. My family followed me out about 3 or 4 years later, and we set up a record label, and it became the premier audio encyclopedia of Black American music. So if you liked Delta Blues, I had an album. If you liked Chicago Blues, if you liked bebop, hard bop, free jazz, soul jazz, the Pharoah Sanders, Alice Coltrane kind of period. I had 25 albums. And during that time, I was still being a geek. I did a lot of live action role playing, running around the woods with swords.
Nice.
Big LARPer. So I had this really kind of eclectic kind of upbringing of just going, here's this grand Hollywood stage of folks that I'd met when I was younger, but then I stopped because it just wasn't really my cup of tea. And then Leimert Park, and then being in the forest, being in the mountains, being a geek and playing D&D and that kind of stuff. And all these kind of things just kept on converging. And then suddenly after putting out 25 albums and lots of commercials I was acting in, and I had this opportunity, am I going to be kind of staying on the path of acting, which was actually going really well, or doing comic books? And I had these ideas, and I started pitching them to different comic companies. And it was around the time that essentially the internet came along, and all these CDs and albums I was putting out, you could just download for free on Napster. And so my business went, you're done for. And so I was like, I don't want to start another company again. The record business, can be sketchy, you know. Definitely many stories from those eras. But when I pitched Niobe to private investors to start, to other comic companies to start with, a lot, I would say most of them were very much like fantasy doesn't sell in comics. And then Black leads do not sell in comics, and then female leads do not sell in comics. And I'm going, yeah, I'm doing all three. You know?
Right.
I don't know the whole lot, and that's the way I want to introduce. I've got a big global universe, but I'm not introducing them through Camelot, you know, through the Shire. I'm introducing through different parts of the African, you know, continent of my world, specifically here. And specifically, here are the reasons, and it makes sense story-wise as well as this is, you know, intrinsically, it's just, or you know, an organic, something organic for me. And some of them were like, well, sure, okay, this would look good during our Black History Month announcement. And I was like, oh shit, you guys are hollow, vapid motherfuckers. Okay, cool. I gotta start a company again, good Lord, to protect the integrity and the vulnerability of Niobe. It was so, I felt so ultimately responsible for her. And I started Stranger Comics around a time I was going through a divorce, and people were, some companies were coming after me in ugly ways. And, you know, for a while I was sleeping out of my car and everything was on a credit card. So we started with one comic book and a lot of horror stories. Yvette's horror stories, a lot of horror stories, you know. And somehow, you know, just through grit and attrition and love, you know, we just put one foot in front of the other, and here we are.
Can I go back to something really quick?
Yeah, like, sorry, I was rambling. Oh my goodness.
No, you weren't rambling at all. Like, we're totally enwrapped, you know, like you have such an amazing story. And I think that one of the things that's sticking in my head, like, which is only tangentially related to the comics that came later, is the fact that you moved to another country across an entire ocean at 18 by yourself.
By yourself.
I mean,
that stuck with me. I was like, wait, by yourself?
I'm like, we got to go back to that. I'm like listening to the rest of the stuff that you're saying. And I'm like, let's go back. 18 by yourself. How motivated were you? What was motivating you to make that jump? At 18, I was not in any way capable of supporting myself. Right, you know, or thinking about supporting myself.
Yes.
Or thinking, I mean, I did go about and gallivant about the world and in the country a little bit by myself, but I always knew I was coming home.
Right.
You know,
I stayed in the same country.
Yeah, you know, I stayed in the same country for my gallivanting at that time.
Right, my gallivanting was in, well, mainly me for my state. I didn't even go outside. I stayed in New York State, and that was it. And I raised 3 18-year-olds. And yeah, I really need to know more about that, because there is no way in the world those 3 could have ever done that.
Yeah, what's the mindset of somebody who can handle themselves at 18 and or think that like, like I'm gone, like deuces?
That's a great, I think, I mean, you know, I just give credit to my parents for, you know, I think if I was to go back, there's a couple of things that are determining factors. I think Europeans, especially people from England, generally travel a lot more than Americans do.
Yeah.
If you travel to other countries, I mean, you know, I've traveled a lot, and it's, if I've done backpacking or by myself or in like sketchy places where you're like, oh, I'm not going to go there. You very rarely see Americans do that, because America is so vast and
it's so big. Yeah.
Like, it's hard to get off of this place. It's hard to get out.
It really is hard to get out.
Right. No, but you know, you go to New Orleans, it's a different country to California.
Right.
You know? So you've got America to explore as well. Yeah. But I also think it is a cultural thing that, you know, Europeans, they travel, universities, and also, France is just over the, you just pop over to France, or you're going up to Scotland. Scotland isn't England; it's another country. You can get to experience certain things, but I think there's an allure that was sold, the American dream, the concept of possibility. So America's sold that too. So it's like, well, I got this shit here, so I don't need to go. We're already the greatest country in the world, right? It's this it's where's on the, it's like it feels like it's on the dollar bill, like in God we trust, here we are, we've got everything. We got God, we got Doe, we've got American football, we got Jordan, like what else do you need, and I think and it's like, oh, that's cute, you're from England, and and I think it's this sense of, then from the outside, me, when I would visit America as a boy, I'm like, wait, this is where James Brown comes from, where he changed me. It like literally gave me courage. So my heroes growing up were James Brown from that song, Bruce Lee, who made it when he went to America, Otis Redding, and I was a big fight fan. So and the English fighters didn't do as good as the American fighters, right? So you've had all these kind of like, oh, this is where I need to be. And then I think also for me, acting, my mum being, her best friend being married to Cary Grant. As a young boy who's impressionable, I was like, wait, what does Cary do again? He's got a really nice house.
Yeah, right.
Right.
He does acting. I'll do that shit.
Right.
Yeah, cool. That looks easy. And when I got here, he had passed, 5 or 6 years before, and a lot of family promises that were given to me did not come through. And at 18, I didn't want to go, okay, well, nothing's working for me. Everyone kind of turned their back on me. Let me, I can't put my tail between my legs and go home. What do I do? And so I hustled pool really badly. And I would go to pool halls and hustle.
Wow.
And I leaned into being English. So if you're in a pool hall and you're 18,
absolutely.
And you got a bunch of big dudes, and they're girls, and they want to show off. They're like, they can see me as an easy mark, and I would be playing, and I'd say, "Oh, hello, sir. I need to be home by 8 o'clock, but okay, yes, we can have a game." And they'd be like, "Do you want to bet?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, no, my mum wouldn't allow that." And then I would lose, and they were like, "Do you want to do double or nothing?" I'm like, "What does that mean?"
Wow.
So I was quite treacherous with it, and then I would always get before they kind of realized if once I hit like $50 or $100, I was out.
Yeah.
And I did that, and I did portraits of rich white people. So I would go to these areas I knew where rich white people were in the parks or at their house, and I would knock on their door literally and go, "Oh, hello, I'm from England. Would you like your portrait done?" And they were like, "Oh,
you're from England. Right into it."
I'm telling you, why not? It works every time.
It works
English
every time.
accents work like crazy. Accents, period, for Americans work, right? But English accents in particular.
It's helped a little bit. And they were like, they're like, "You're from England. You must be amazing. Come on in." And I would say, "Wow, no, that's okay. Let me just take a photo of your precious child, and I will do it at home." And I was really a C- art student. So I would take these photographs.
A+ hustler though.
Yeah, I was quite good at that. And then I would do these portraits, and they'd be really average and sometimes terrible. But what I would do is I would get really nice frames, and then I returned, and I would judge their reaction. And if they got a really bad reaction, I would go, "Do you like the frames?" And they go, yeah, the frames are really nice. And they would pay me, and I'd be on to the next.
Wow.
And and I tried a bit of dancing, not naked.
I was curious. Was there
I
a
know,
pole
I could
involved?
feel it. I could feel it.
You know us so well now.
Yeah. But
Did you get those abs
wanted,
right?
they
No, I'm
wanted
joking.
it. I had abs back then. Let me tell you, I had great abs.
Look, let me tell you.
You need them for that pole.
Those 18-year-old, 20-year-old bodies were just beautiful.
Oh man. I remember those days.
Couldn't put a kid on that. Yeah.
So
Those
and it
were
was
the
fun. It was a lot of
days.
fun, and I was honestly, I think I'm a big believer in. I think I suffer a lot from fear, and it's the fight or flight reality. So fear of failure, fear of not working hard enough, fear of I'm a coward, which makes me eternally a coward. You know, like a fear of feeling like I failed my families. When a guy would challenge me to fight at school in the boarding house, I got into a lot of fights as a kid. And even if I was scared, I would have to go through with it just to get rid of this feeling of fear, to overcome it.
Yeah.
Fear of if I don't ask the girl out, I'm going to be torturing myself. And I think that's and fear of, honestly, the big thing for me was fear of my father thinking I was a coward if I didn't punch a guy in the face or follow through with this.
Right.
And which internally made me afraid of him, which is this constant thing I still wrestle with today.
Yeah.
Man, that makes so much sense.
Makes a lot of,
I get
so
that.
So I could when at 18, I'll tell you one more quick story because it's kind of funny. So there was a famous nightclub in LA called the Roxbury Club back in the 90s, and they even made a movie about it, right? Night of the Roxbury. So I'm 18. I'm like, oh, that's where the celebs go. I'm 18. That sounds impressive at that age, I guess. And so I just phone up and say, hello, yes, I'm Elton John's manager. I need a limo coming to pick me up. And my mates were visiting from England. They were like, you are fucking crazy. And so limos would come and pick us up, and then we would go in. I'd get in, just make up, whatever. And now I'm in the club, and we're 18 years old.
Wow.
And these grown folks, and I remember seeing Tia Carrera and from Wayne's World.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, I need to ask her out. And it just being the as soon as you challenge your fear, fearless. And I remember going on the dance floor and shutting my eyes and dancing, and suddenly I opened my eyes, the whole dance floor cleared off. And Marky Mark's Funky Bunch jump on the stage. Now I'm having a showdown with them.
Oh my God.
I had a lot of fun. A lot of fun. 18.
Yep.
18 years old, yeah.
Our kids don't believe any of that stuff.
No, they
right?
don't. Like, you never did anything.
I tell all of these stories about when I was that age. They're like, yeah, okay.
Right. I don't know if I'm making it up. I don't blame them.
Right. I'm like,
no, I actually did that.
No, this happened. This all happened, all of it.
Now all I do is go, ooh, 1,500 piece puzzle. Yeah.
And a cup of tea.
And a good cup of tea, right?
And a good cup of tea. I had my tea before we got on here. Came home and I was like, it's a tea night.
It's tea time.
Yes.
Oh my God. This is why I wanted to ask you these questions, because an interesting person, an interesting mind had to come up with the world that you've come up with. Like it's no dullard who comes up with something totally complex and totally riveting and amazing, like this. I mean, that's what, I love people's work that they put out, but I am always interested in who is the person behind the work. Who is, who are you?
Right.
What are you thinking about? What are you talking about? Because we're all so different.
Right.
And, I love the way other people's minds work. I'm just fascinated by how are you processing these things, and especially as creative people, we know that whatever we're using, whatever creative outlet we're doing is really us processing the world, right?
Right.
and our experiences in the world, you know.
Sure. So it's funny you mentioned that. When we had a deal at HBO for a while, and when we started Stranger Comics, we had a quick offers in right from the jump. And the first project is The Untamed. That's where you first meet Niobe. And I'll give you the little spin on that. But back then I had producers saying, "Oh, this is great. Nothing been finished apart from one issue." They were like, "But if you make Niobe a white boy, I'll make your movie." And I had like real offers and real things. And then years later, of course, we did Niobe Shear's Life with Amandla. And we didn't realize it at the time, but it became the first nationally distributed comic book, but with a Black female author, artist, and hero in entertainment. And we were like, but this was not. It was one of those things that these are just stories we wanted to tell, and organically we're telling with the people we want to tell them with. And so then we had offers came in to make our shows and movies and things. But it was a thing where I was always so protective of Niobe, this character. And if it never became a TV show or a film, it would suck, maybe, obviously, because you want to feel like everybody can experience it and hopefully connect with it on a soulful level. Pay a few bills and things, take care of your families and that kind of stuff, and people that work with you and their families, and really understand those moral dilemmas. And then Black Panther came out, and they get more offers. Oh, this is suddenly a thing. But I met with a guy who was the co-head of drama at HBO at the time, David Levine, and he said to me in a meeting, he said, "Can I ask you a question, Sebastian? Is the stranger you?" And I was like, "Oh my God." Usually people ask these very perfunctory kind of questions, like what's your demographic and all these kind of things. And I was like, "Yes, he's my hope to be a better man. And how could I get back to my family? Am I allowed a second chance as a man? And, are we allowed, if we can forgive other people, can we forgive ourselves?" And all these things that, you wrestle with. He's like, "Okay, cool." He goes, "Can I ask you something else? Is Niobe you?" And I was like, "Whoa, yeah, she is. She is my conscience. And she is my hope for salvation. But she's also mixed like me. But more importantly, it's this feeling of wrestling with the goddess and the devil inside. It's like this duality of spirit we all share. And I never feel like I've belonged anywhere. I'm trying to fit in, but I think that's the same for everybody. Everyone's trying to find their tribe." And he's like, "Okay." And I left that meeting, and I had another meeting that day with another massive studio, big one, 8 execs in the room. And they asked, and there's one lady there who I love and adore, but it was David's seeing me as a person and not Niobe as a commodity.
Yes.
Yeah.
That
I was thinking, like, that dude could have been at Telemundo. I'm like, I guess now he's speaking Spanish because he's amazing.
Right.
It's a beautiful thing to be able to connect to the creator through their creation. I think,
yes.
for sure. So I appreciate it.
I think it's I love that. You made me think of something else there when you're talking about being mixed, that I grew up as a mixed child in this country, but I present Black, right? I present African-American Black, but it's still, I was straddling a couple of cultures, and never felt comfortable in either one, right? Like never truly at home and able to be myself. And, it was like in the 90s, I started meeting more mixed kids.
Yeah.
Right. And starting to find another tribe. Like that. It took all that time for me to find other people who just knew what I was talking about,
Right.
and so I'm really grateful that there's a character out there who is also mixed, who is wrestling with this. One of the reasons I always appreciate talking to Michelle Hurd, because she always says that like you cannot, because when I was coming up in the 70s, like, you were forced to pick one,
Yeah.
And God forbid you be more than two things,
That's
which I am.
There's a lot going on here, yeah, for
right.
sure.
Like I call myself a mutt. Like there's a couple of us, we call ourselves mutts, and people are like, "Don't compare yourself to a dog." I'm like, whatever. I'm not a dog. Like so, I'm good.
I'm good.
I do. I am. It's perfect.
Right? Like I'm a mutt. Like I got a lot going on inside of me, and it's, but people, back in those days, everybody wanted you to choose one or the other. You cannot, especially in America. I don't know how it was in England, but in America, like you got an ounce of black blood and you were black, period. Right? That's our history. This is the culture that we're coming from. So, everybody, like you had to choose one or the other. And I, being the ornery ass that I am, refused to submit to that most of the time. Now, culturally, I really did grow up black mostly, mostly, but it's a thing that we didn't start talking about, even amongst black folks, right? Until like the aughts. Right. Like it wasn't talked about in the 90s at all.
You did a book. Did you see
Barely
our book?
In the aughts.
I wrote a book with Garcelle Beauvais called I Am Mixed.
I Am Mixed. It's wonderful.
Series. It's actually in our 12. It's been out for 12 years now.
2013, right?
Yeah, 2012, 13, something like that, and sold a lot of units, and it was very, very controversial at the time because everyone loves to talk about race, and especially online. So our sales were really, really strong, but it's just such a topical conversation. My mom's from India. She's Indian, supposedly Indian, African, Dutch, Portuguese, and English. So, and I saw, it's like I saw a picture of my mother's grandmother for the first time a couple of years ago. Like, oh, there's a black woman there, and like, oh, I'm piecing myself to putting my puzzles of me together. But it's, I don't know. I feel there's I'm very militant minded culturally. Very, very militant, very strong-minded, and it's when some people can have the assumption that like, oh wait, what are you, and this, that, and the other, and I don't really. I think I've created I'm so used to it that if someone's asking from an honest place of, hey, are you black? Or are you this? Can I ask you a question? Why did you do this? I totally understand it. Look, I mean, the history of the country is, not to be trusted past, right? So you understand why someone's going to ask, why are you doing this? So when people ask me, why are you doing Niobe? Are you black? Are you mixed? What are you to be doing a comic of a black female lead? And why does she have dreadlocks? Why does she have this? And I think those questions are good. And even if people are aggressive, I'm like, I'm good, because I think these questions need to be asked, and I think I feel that, oh, that's good. Black folks are wanting to, protect Niobe,
right?
And even if some people are very and when I say aggressive, super aggressive. But for the most part, I think it's more of a curiosity and wonder from a place of joy and celebration of, oh my goodness, what is this? This looks beautiful. Oh, well, you did this? And like, and then they see my booth, and my booth is like, I would say if I've got 10 people there, 7 are black, 2 are white. I'm the ambiguous, what are you?
Right. You could play any ethnicity on TV.
Right.
But most black people know.
They go, yeah, we know each other. Like we always know each other.
White. I don't know what he is, but he ain't white. Not fully.
Right. I did a thing once. It was around 9/11. just after and just before, where a friend of mine, this black lady, she was a teacher at different universities, some super kind of like preppy kind of schools and some inner city schools, and she would have me come and I would sit there and not say a word. And this is when my hair used to be 3 times as big, beard all big, and after about an hour of me sitting there saying nothing, she handed out these pieces of paper, and it was, who do you think this man is? Who do you think he is in relation to me? What do you think his ethnic background is? What do you think his sexual preference is? What do you his religion is? All these things.
Wow.
And it was fascinating. So nearly every single black person, I would say 90% and up, said I was mixed black something, light skin or something. Every Latino said I was definitely Mexican or some form of Latino. Every gay person said I was gay.
Wow.
Every Muslim person said I was Muslim.
Wow.
Yep.
And then after 9/11, every white person said I was Arab.
Wow.
Wow.
And so I thought, well, during the times of peace, people are wanting to connect. We are taught this, like, oh, we've got to have these differences and so on. But really, I want to get to know him, and I want him to be part of my tribe, my team, which I thought was lovely. And then after 9/11 hit, I had there's a candlelight vigil near my house, and I was like, "Hey guys," and they were like, "There's one now." They started running after me,
Shut up!
Yeah, it was crazy.
Wow.
But I'm from England, so I don't really care. Which is slightly different built over there. But yeah, it was. It's been a journey, And then people say, "Why does she have dreadlocks?" And I say, because she's trying to connect to the memory of her mother and her people, but it's the last memory she has of her mother is holding on to her mother's hair as she's being pulled away. So there's deep-rooted reasons as well as cultural reasons and so on. So everything's very real to me.
Yeah. I love that.
Wow,
yeah.
This is why I love the series. It's like it's very real to me
good
too.
Stuff.
Yeah,
good stuff. Yeah.
All right, so like we have gone all the way around the bend, right? And like, so I think we should probably actually tell people, like, give them the spiel, like if they haven't, like, because I'm sure they're picking up tantalizing little hints here and there, so the appetites should be nice and wet.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. I was about to be naughty, but I won't. All right, so
me too.
I could see it. There's a pause.
You saw it, so I heard the pause, right?
Yeah, I did. Friday nights.
That's it.
All right, everyone's nice and wet and ready. Okay, here we go.
That's another subtitle.
See, there's like at least 4 people like, I'm never going to support this guy ever. Click.
Not our group.
Okay, perfect.
Oh, yeah, our group.
No, you're speaking our language.
Yeah. You're fine.
Slide into my proverbials. I'm on Instagram. It's strange. Okay, so here we go. Right, so here is the pitch, and here is why you might want to get into the world of Asunder. So let's start. Would you damn your family to save the world? The Untamed is a story of a man who's stuck in purgatory. And after 10 years, the devil comes along and he says, I'll give you 7 days to reap the 7 souls that murdered you and your family. He says, sign me up, and returns to a one-horse town in a huge world. And as his memory comes back in broken shards, he realizes when he was alive, he was a bad man and maybe he deserved to die. But now he's on a path to save his family. On his path of vengeance to save their soul, he meets a little elven girl called Niobe. And she reminds him of how old his murdered daughter would have been, giving this man a second chance to be a good man, even a father. But he only has 7 days. The kicker is, what if she's one of the 7 souls he has to collect? And the devil set the whole thing up just to find her. Would you damn your world to save would you damn your family to save the world, or would you damn the world to save your family? Because if Niobe can stay alive in the Untamed, maybe she'll grow up to become our world's savior or destroyer. That's the Untamed.
Dun, 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 dun,
Dun, dun,
dun.
dun.
Okay, are y'all? There's some wet appetites out there now.
Oh my
And we
goodness.
spin off into Niobe Shear's life. It's kind of a Beauty and the Beast love story, threaded with murder and mystery that leads to war. But it's really about a young elven girl returning to her ancestors to try and find her faith. The Dusu spin-off tale is a story of a man with the spirit of the jaguar deep within his soul. And when the ancient spirit of the wolf comes hunting him, he has to risk unleashing his own inner beast and risk destroying the tribe he loves just to save them. We have Erathun as kind of our Avengers title, our new Naibi She tribe, the one that's in stores at November 6th, which you can pre-order now from your local comic shop with Tusu and Bedu, is about tradition. Are all traditions good? And if we are to change them, who are we to change them? And then once we change them, do we then say, okay, peace out, you got it from here, kids? And then they're left holding something new, So that's my kind of challenge to laws, traditions, and things. So they go, that's our tradition. Well, that doesn't make it good or right. But then who am I to judge? So I like those kind of things. That's in the new one.
I love the questions you ask in these books.
Thank you.
Because it makes it, I think the art brings you in. Like it gives you that wow. And then there's these questions you ask in each, and that just keeps you going. I mean, it's just something that I read a lot of comic books. And this, I've never read anything like this. When we first met and I walked by your booth and I was just in awe of everything. And then you told me about it. And then you talked about how Niobe was going to be this badass going to find these women, these girls that were taken.
Oh yeah.
And at the time I was still I did a lot of work with smuggling humans.
Oh wow.
And it just, I think that really clicked with us. And I just never forgot that. And because it was the way you said it. I know you were talking about a fantasy, but you were talking about something real,
right?
And that's where I was like, this is not your average, average comic book here, And so I think every time we talk to people, you just never know what people are getting from what you're putting out, and you never know who you're going to sit. The things you say to people or the content you put out, you don't know how it's going to move, or move someone to do something, So I want to put it out there when you talk about these things, because this is an everyday thing. Missing women, missing girls is every day, and there's a whole segment of the world who has no clue that this is a thing. This is women go missing every single day. And they're never to be seen again, and it's very dear to my heart, trying to find these girls, these women, especially women of color, because most of them are women of color. And I think it was you said our women or our girls. I think that's what you said to me. And I felt that.
Yes.
You weren't talking about a comic.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yes,
I just felt
100%.
that. And I think I was getting ready to retire and I was finishing up some cases. And I think all of that just I needed that. I needed someone to validate me saying, I need to work on this. I got to get this done. I got to make sure these people are okay. It was a lot of that. So I always wanted to come back to you and tell you that, it's not just a comic book.
Right. Oh man,
not just
thank
a comic
you.
book, Yeah.
I appreciate
There's
that.
there's a lot of people out there hurting because their babies are gone.
Right.
Unfortunately, they usually don't come back. Unfortunately. So
that's so brutal. It's so brutal.
It is brutal. It is brutal. The life of women, and I think we've been talking about this so much since this election. How women are just we're thought of as second class, third class citizens.
Yeah.
And these things are happening to us. Things are happening to our children, our girls. And I think until Kamala announced, I don't think people cared. I don't think they knew. I was just
Right.
reading I was actually just reading a thread, and someone was talking about credit cards, how women weren't able to
That's
have
right.
loans or credit cards. And
Mm-hmm.
it was thousands of threads. People are going, wait, what?
Yep.
I didn't know this was happening. He goes,
I just posted on
right?
that.
You mean my
Yeah,
mother couldn't get a loan?
that's right.
But
Right.
she was a single mother. How did she get the loan that we needed? How
Right.
did she pay for all it? It was like thread after thread of all these young women trying to figure out, even women our age is just trying to figure out, well, how did my mother do this?
Right.
And God
Because it was
forbid
in our
you don't want to
lifetime.
know.
This was in our lifetime.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, I mean, that women could have credit cards, that we could sign a lease
Yeah.
on our own, that we could buy property
Yeah.
on our
I think
own,
the
that we could get
80s
a
is
loan.
80s is when it was approved. And for Black women, they weren't approving nothing.
Right.
So, that's we digress, but
Yeah, but I mean,
just
it's what we do here,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's important. It's important. It's
But
important.
yeah.
I mean, it's honestly, I used to get in, trouble quite a lot at school, with when, and this is never to knock it, I was probably, I don't know, 8 or 10. And I remember in the assembly hall with, the principal, right? In England, they're called the headmaster, which is already kind of a dodgy title.
Right. I went to one of those schools that you had a headmistress and headmaster.
Right.
Yeah.
And I said, I remember saying, "Excuse me, sir, why is God a man?"
Mm.
And he's like, "Jones, detention."
Right.
I'm like,
just asking a question.
He's asking a question. And so I think you just, for me, when I was creating Niobe, and as I kind of grew and learned of other cultures and, other religions and other histories and other things, and then maybe not doing as much research as I should, but also wanting to feel and this sounds really kind of, I don't know, potentially obnoxious or arrogant or whatever. I just wanted to feel what was in my spirit, connecting with God directly myself.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until I heard Alice Coltrane, and it literally changed a lot of my perspectives, and going, oh, okay, I am listening, but I'm hearing and I'm connecting, and everything just starts to kind of organically flow. And I was teaching in FAMU I did a couple of lectures there.
Nice.
And it's been a couple of times some ladies have come up to me and they, the ancestors are speaking through you, and you don't have to question it. Because sometimes, it's like, oh, okay, I'm, some ambiguous dude. What, like the same questions that folks might have for me. Why? But it's not, I've never been a person to, I guess, try and fit in or want to do something to impress or need validation and those types of things. So I think I've just organically wanted to celebrate the vulnerabilities, the softness, the opportunity for a young Black girl to be able to be a young Black girl and not have the burden of the world of caretaker already thrust upon their shoulders.
Or the minute you become 13, you're thought of as a woman, or a sexual object.
A sexual object, right?
At 13,
exactly. At 13, or 12, or 10,
or 9,
or 7.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
so those things it's just that when that was kind of I'll show you one cover. I think I was showing you earlier. This one here was one that still really speaks to me.
Yeah, I love that cover.
It's I'm not allowed to be a girl. I have to essentially do this. And I wrote a line in the most recent Untamed movie script. It's going to be in one of the comics, and it's this obligation versus adventure, obligation versus just being.
So I'm sorry, is that the alternate cover, or is that
no? This is volume 2.
Yeah,
I want to describe it for the people who are listening.
Jay Lee did that one.
So this is the Untamed cover.
It's the Untamed Volume 2 cover.
Volume 2 cover. Okay, so you guys who are listening, like, go check that out. Pull that cover up, and you'll know exactly what we're talking about. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, I had Jay Lee sign that because I think you had a picture of it.
Yes.
So I had Jay Lee sign it, and I gave it to my middle daughter.
Oh, that's lovely.
I just thought it reminded me of her because it's so pure.
Yeah,
and
you're finding your way.
Right. She was finding her way at that time, and it was so pure, and it still was. It was a girl being a girl, but naturally, like you said, organically becoming a young woman. Not like you said, not thrust upon her. Right. And that's what I was trying to. I've always tried to do that with my girls. I have 3 of them. So, just trying to let them organically become adults instead of, I think they stay little girls for a very long time compared to their peers, which was very hard to do.
Yeah, it is beautiful. Right. I mean, it's lovely when your family
difficult.
is supportive of that, of you being able to be your age.
Yes. I did it with my son, all my other family members for sure. It's just really, it was what happens. Actually, Jay Lee, I don't know if I showed you, has got the cover B for Tales Vasunda Naibi She Tribe. So
that's a beautiful one too.
You can also,
you guys, so I just Google these. Go on StrangerComics.com. Is it StrangerComics.com?
StrangerComics.com, StrangerComics.com. You can pre-order the stuff there too. You can.
We will have the description we'll have the link in the description.
Oh, yeah,
for all of you. So,
for sure.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Yep,
so the line I was going to say that I have is a hero is not a chosen one. A hero chooses to be one. So it's this concept when in the books, everyone's like, oh, Naibi's a chosen one. No, Naibi chooses to be one, which means you can too.
Right. I love that. Yeah, I love that because there's always a choice. Because the one that the prophecy or the high priest or whoever says you're the one,
right?
Somebody has to accept the responsibility to be the one.
Right.
Like you could choose to just ignore all the repercussions that are happening to the world around you because you're not accepting the responsibility that the universe has thrust upon you, or whatever, or whatever. Like there's always a choice.
There's always a choice.
Even though we sometimes don't see it as such, it's still a choice.
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Really
that's the one that you connect with the Naibi Shear's death, where she's hunting down sex traffickers and slave traders to reflect our own girls that get abducted. That's kind of her journey. And then what I'll have after Shear's life and Shear's death, I'm going to have Shear's spirit, which she basically combines her faith and her fighting as she really has to suddenly grow in this arc. And I'll finish with Naibi Shear's God.
Wow.
I love it.
Yeah.
Oh,
I can't wait.
Has to bind nations against the devil, her father, the Untamed.
Wow.
And because she's half angel, half demon. So you go on this beautiful arc.
Love it.
And
I can't wait.
What a world.
I know, right?
What a world.
And I think that the other thing that I love so much about this particular series of work, and others similar to it, is that, it's reframing the narrative of what fantasy is. Like I'm a kid who was reading fantasy from a really early age, right? This was it was my jam, and once I read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, nothing else but fantasy would do for me. I had finally found and through my adult life, I very seldomly read just regular standard fiction.
Right.
I can't, it's boring as hell to me. Like like most of the time I am so bored. Like we're spending 30 pages on talking about this person's inner feelings, like, and and he went and got a cup of coffee and then this, and like, I'm supposed to, like, stop. Like, what's happening in this person's life? Why are we still getting coffee every day? I don't get it. No, I do read a lot of different things, but I mean, for real, like fantasy and science fiction is my jam. So I say all that to say that I grew up reading a lot of Tolkien, and all the standard fantasy. I was like indoctrinated into standard fantasy tropes. And it took me like, to see Octavia Butler and to see a Black woman on the cover of her book, like, and not these new covers that they did in the 19s or like the teen years just recently. Like, I'm talking, they had this gorgeous art on these covers of identifiable Black. They have Parable of the Sower. They got a woman up there looking like Harriet Tubman.
Right.
They don't have nothing to do with anybody in that damn book. Like, there's no Harriet Tubman shit going on. The woman is she's wearing a kerchief and a big ass like slave skirt. What? Where did this come from? It's a beautiful piece of art, but what does it have to do with this book? Nothing. When I bought my copy of Parable of the Sower, there was a woman who looked like me, literally looked like she could be my twin. Right. And had the short hair and everything. And I was like, damn. And it was this gorgeous piece of like fantasy spectral space art. Right. And that's all her covers were like that. And so, you start to get this reframing and all of a sudden my whole world is flipped upside down. I have a new understanding of what fantasy and science fiction can be.
Yeah.
Right. Because and then I started reading people like I remember running into like reading Stephen Barnes. And The Lion's Tale. And that's taking isn't that the name of it?
Which one is that?
That's where Stephen Barnes, please excuse me for getting it. Like, it's been so many years that I read this book because it totally changed my life. And and it was basically like this retelling of slavery from it's alternate history of slavery, right? So instead of Blacks being enslaved, it was like whites and Irish people being enslaved.
I remember that.
And Lion's Blood, Lion's Blood, and Zulu Heart. Lion's Blood was out in 2002. And I mean, and it's a classic book. Like, everybody who reads fantasy should know this book, right? Because he didn't just be like, oh, now Black people are in charge now. No, it was this really in-depth, meticulous world building and asking really complicated questions and really examining the nature of what was happening in slavery. Like you had a lot of the kids on plantations who were slaves, or even not big plantations, but even smaller places. The white kids and the Black kids, they were all growing up together. They were playing, like they knew each other intimately, and then what happens with that power dynamic as they get older and everything, so these things reframed what fantasy could be. And I see your work with her, like, in this family, in the, kindred with them, is a direct continuum of constantly reframing and looking at and letting people know that this is not the province of just, people with pale skin and blue eyes, like, and a Black elf, like, not meaning that she's a bad elf. What?
Right. The dark elf, right?
The dark elf, like they're evil. What?
No, that as a young kid playing D&D, I was like, fuck all of that. I just knew from the jump I was gonna turn that on its head with my world, and I created a race called Silver Elves, who are elves that worship the moon, and and they've been kept underground, and depending on how blessed they are by the moon dragon, shows different inflections of silver. But the way I took it is a very kind of geographical approach. So if you're the quick pitch is, if you're an elf and you live in Ujoa, you're Black. Your chances are, right? If you're an elf and you live in Hudafang, you're going to be pale, just geographically.
Geographically,
Right.
yeah.
But then within that, I have Galimren, which are wild elves. Humans are called wild elves, Galimren. So if you're a Galimren in Ujoa, you're probably nomadic or tribal, because it's a big joint, right? Big place. If you're a Galimren or a wild elf in Hurfang, you might be more Eskimo-like because you're more of that, kind of wanderer type. And then you have the Selvanu, who are the wood elves, the shepherds of the forest that still build and construct, and you have the Quellia, who still build towers because they take after their mother, who was the first fairy, and they just say they don't trust. So you've got them. I wanted to combine like a mythological kind of vibe, but also super rooted in a culture depending on their habitat and their religion and how they move and how do they migrate and migration patterns as well. And all those types of things made such a big impact onto the world that we have. So when people see our stuff, they'll go, oh, okay, here's my normal dwarf in Erethu, he's white. Yeah, but that's because he's in the Scandinavian part of our world. If we have dwarves in Ujoa, they're black.
They're black, okay.
So
it's
it's and that's, kind of to me how it should be.
How it should be, yeah.
And the world I created, so when I'm dead and gone, people can still paint within my world because I try to make it as big as Earth, and I can't explore all of Earth in my time frame, so I can't explore Asunder in my time frame. So, that's why I liked working with Amanda or Tuso, the odd person that might pop along and go, here's some fresh perspective. I'm like, oh my God, that's great. Let's play.
I love that.
And then I've got three, and then it's the other one with Prentice that I wrote, the Naibian Dura, the one that you have with the Lauren Hill homage.
Yeah.
I did 3 different covers. I don't have them immediately handy, but I did 3 different covers where Dura, the creator of the world of Asunder, one of the 2 creators, her and her twin brother, Vastar, are braiding Naibi's hair. And they're 3 of the more beautiful covers we've done. And I remember speaking to my art director, and I was like, I want to have a cover with Naibi sitting down and Dura braiding her hair, just something very, very, day-to-day in Black life, but also passing on tradition.
Yeah.
And so Dura is going to be passing on the tradition or her own need for Niobe to now be the creator, the caretaker of the world, which again plays on the whole theme of Black women being caretakers for not just their families, but other families and so on. Here's Niobe, here's Dura having to be the caretaker for everyone's family because she's a creator. And now I'm braiding your hair. It's gonna be you, kid.
Yeah.
And then I was like, actually, I want 3 different artists to do the same thing.
Oh, nice.
And so I have 3 different interpretations with different moods. I'll email them to you.
I want to see that.
They're all absolutely beautiful.
Now, I know we talked about the world of Asunder, but you have other things going on.
Yes,
right?
I do. Actually, speaking of, we have a comic coming out at the same time. We've partnered with a studio called Legion M.
Yep, we know them well. Yeah,
you know them well. The
yes.
amazing Rob Edwards, who wrote Princess and the Frog. So here we go. We've got the Canaan White edition here is going to hit comic shops. You can also pre-order Defiant Issue 1, the story of Robert Smalls. And of course, we're taking back the term, which was very anti-Black, willful defiance, a loophole in law. So we're saying, no, we are defiant. And this is our San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. I wanted to do an homage to, of course, one of my, young, heroes when I was young, Shaft, the Richard Roundtree homage.
I love it. It's in the Shaft font. It's in Smalls.
It's dope.
Great.
It's really
so
dope.
It's so dope.
So we have that. That's absolutely amazing. And the guys at Legion, they came to me and said, basically, we want you to do it. They did a Kickstarter. Then they came back and said, can you help us actually put this together? And when the guys pitched me, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, we don't want it to be in the classic kind of, what seems to be or can be this vibe of more slave, narratives, which is now, people are overwhelmed, I think, with they use the term slave porn or torture porn or something.
Yeah.
It's too much. But I'm also of a mind of like the Burning Spear song, Do You Remember the Days of Slavery?
Love that song.
Love that
my
song.
God. Would you stop speaking my musical heart already? Damn, you went from, oh my God. Okay. Yes. I'm sorry.
So you were good. So yes, Burning Spear. Amazing. And it hits you right here. And it also then instills the responsibility to still speak for the voice for the unspoken.
Yes.
And when I hear people go, I don't like that shit, tell them to do something else, I'm like, these stories cannot be forgotten. It's just who is the person telling the story?
Absolutely.
Right.
And in what way?
Yeah.
And so we are doing our best to tell the life of Robert Smalls in a very heroic way and understand these folks are heroes.
So for people who don't know, can you tell them a little bit who's Robert Smalls?
Yeah, Robert Smalls is a legendary figure of American history. And one of the more famous, he's responsible for the public school system, his life in Congress, but he started, what he's most famous for when he was younger was essentially being on a Confederate ship and then stealing in quotes the Confederate ship, and then basically taking his family and other families on this Confederate ship into Union waters, where the Union were about to blow them up because they thought, here's our enemy, here's a Confederate warship coming in, and he managed to escape and free his family and a whole bunch of other slaves, and head to the Union on this Confederate ship, and then became a naval captain for the Union in the war. So just that story alone,
I know, right?
So heroic and mind-blowing. And then that's just one. If you look up Robert Smalls, I implore that you do see all the various accomplishments that this man did in one lifetime is so absurd. It's just, he should be as known as every great American hero.
Yes.
And so it's a huge honor that I get to publish the comic, and I'm an editor on it and a producer on the movie. So it's
I love it.
It's pretty. It's a huge honor, and we get offers to do other shit all the time. And I'm a tiny company, putting out my stuff. But I was like, I have to be a part of this.
Yeah, so important. Are you guys' appetites wet now?
Which you can also find all the info on Stranger Comics as well.
Yes,
but if you do, guys, please pre-order at your local comic book shop, because it lets them know we have a voice.
Right.
Very good. Very good. Yes. Always support your local comic book shop.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Because I'm, me, I have a comic book dealer. I go see him at least every other week.
Yes, exactly. There you go. Yeah. And we have until the 26th to pre-order. So I'll be bugging everybody. Everybody's going to be getting individual messages from me. Okay. I'm a boots on the ground, kind of, I'm the president, but I'm also the truck driver and a guy that's sending messages,
Yes. We will definitely make sure that we have links for that too, for pre-order. And we'll push it out on our socials too.
On socials, because I think, we're definitely going to push it out on our socials.
Yeah, and I'll send you some JPEGs tomorrow of the covers and things.
Perfect.
You can play around with it. That's a huge help, and super appreciate you guys. Thank you.
That's great. Yeah,
man, we love talking to you. I swear, I really could. First of all, I feel like I've met a brother. Like for real. It just feels like family. You're amazing, and I could talk to you all night. No joke. You're just really super interesting and a lot of fun and really down to earth. And we just thank you so much for making time and space to come see us. And, you're just dope, y'all.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Back at you guys, Burning Spear.
I cannot believe you did. Oh my God. Okay. Do you remember a movie called Countryman?
Yeah, of course, absolutely.
Oh, see,
Yeah.
of course he says. Like,
Yeah.
thank you. Okay,
I'm a huge Toots and the Maytals kind of guy.
Yeah.
All the OG rocksteady
Yeah,
reggae,
yeah.
early original ska music, like OG ska.
OG Scott, yeah, not the white boy stuff that they brought over to the States and stole and got famous for.
Yeah, they're called, I think, the English beat. I mean,
Yes.
there's
They're
some
not too
jams,
bad. They're
No,
not too
English beat,
bad.
don't get me started. I love English beat. At least English beat's got some like people, like they got a mixture of
There's some
people.
black folks for sure, but I
Yeah.
think the difference is in England when you there's it's interesting in England when I go back, if I'm around black folks in London, there's a sense of cultural pride that's really rooted, but obviously has a different kind of sense of history. For black folks, I'm super quick generalizing, but also there's a different kind of pride of also being English. It reminded me, like, I remember being on a train and I remember this black and white geezer like the white geezer had a suit on and he was and had a briefcase, and the black dude had dreads and he worked for maybe the train company, and then they were like talking like old friends, like they saw each other every day, and they were talking about the cricket and like, all right, Bill, all right, Fred, I'll see you tomorrow, mate, all right, cheers. And I found it so refreshing and charming that it was just like you're looking at just another human, just a mate.
Yeah.
Right. It's just like, oh, cool. And no one's necessarily, and I'm also generalizing because there's a massive racist population, fist fights every day. I mean, not every day, but enough. But I find that charm is beautiful.
Yeah. I think so too. I love it, and I think it's okay. I'm just going to say this, and I'm going to shut it up. I highly encourage everybody, especially Black Americans, if you get an opportunity to travel outside of this country, do it. Do it. I don't care if it's like a 4-day cruise. I don't care, like, if you got to go cheap, like whatever, do it and experience what it's like to be Black in other parts of the world. Because it is not the same as how we live everywhere is how we live in this country, I mean, these things exist, in the rest of, but we want to see the rest of the world and we want to feel what it's like. And God, if we get a chance, go to Africa.
We went to Comic-Con Africa
somewhere in the continent.
When I met you, you had just come back, I think. And
I was like,
you did what?
I'm working on it. That's my goal for this year. Like this year coming up. It's like my mother and I have been trying. Right before the pandemic, we were going to take a trip together. And then the pandemic came. And then since then, we haven't been able. But like the goal that we're claiming is in the coming year, we're going, because my mother's traveled back and forth to many countries in Africa a lot of times. And I've never once stepped foot on the continent. So like, I feel like I'm not complete.
It's a must. Yeah, it's a must. Yeah.
Okay, well, we're going to wrap it up because you've been more than generous with your time.
Oh, you're good. Thank you.
And we love you. And Yvette, where can people get in touch with us if they have thoughts about, because we've been all over around the bend. I'm sure y'all are going to have some thoughts out there, right, to write to us about?
You can find us at sci-fisisters.com. That's SYFYSISTAS.com. Join us on the mothership. That's MUTHASHIP. And the Sci-Fi Sisters Book Club, both on Facebook. On Instagram, TikTok, and Threads, sci-fi.sisters. We are also on that platform, formerly known as Twitter, at Sci-Fi Sisters. For more interviews, the live show, and our infamous Top 10 series, subscribe to our YouTube channel at Sci-Fi Sisters, Inc. Become a patron of Sci-Fi Sisters today at patreon.com/Sci-Fi Sisters. The Trek Geeks Network's presenting sponsor is Fansets. Go to fansets.com for pins and memorabilia from all your favorite franchises. Visit fansets.com and use Trek Geeks, all caps, for your exclusive 10% discount. After listening to this podcast, please rate us, please rate us and write a review. We may just read it on an upcoming episode.
And I got to say thank you to our associate producers. As always, we're so grateful for Sailor Marj, Karen Dramera, and Stephanie Baker. We love you guys. And we got to say thank you and a shout out to the baddest engineer in any and all universes. That's Dose, the anonymous one. He's responsible for all the music you hear on the show, as well as for the production. And if you need him, look him up on Instagram at Dose_the_anonymous_1. And that's it for us, love. We love you all. Peace, love, and hair grease. We're out.